My name is Jesslyn and I'm the Zen Queen. I'm a certified hypnotherapist in Southern California. I've been doing this for about 15 years now. I'm in private practice, which means I see people both online and in person in my office. And I'm also on staff at an intensive outpatient treatment program for people with anxiety, PTSD, trauma, etc. So every day I'm working with everyday people with everyday problems. I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of discuss something that I think became a hot button issue on social media. And that is this trend of identifying attachment styles. So if you're not familiar, attachment styles is the theory that based on your childhood or your upbringing, that you are a certain personality in a relationship. So you might be an anxious attachment, which would be someone who's nervous of being abandoned, fear of abandonment. You find yourself worrying if there's problems in the relationship, why don't they call you back? If there's been a delay in conversing, what does that mean? You might be the avoidant attachment, which means that you avoid conflict, you avoid big issues. You don't want to be hurt, you're used to being hurt, so therefore you keep people at arm's length. You might end up being what we call disorganized, which is a combination of anxious and avoidant. Or maybe you find that you're actually a secure attachment, which recognizes that I'm my own individual, my partner's is their own individual, and we coexist harmoniously in the relationship. That one's a little bit harder to achieve, but it is doable. Yet at the same time, I found myself going through some relationship struggles and end up going down the rabbit hole of these attachment styles. And then what social media ends up doing is it sends us messages, because once we start searching for something, it keeps coming. And there's a lot of influencers who talk about attachment styles. And I found if I fell victim to this, I'm sure many other people did too, which then I end up thinking that myself, which is I self-diagnosed as a disorganized attachment style when my partner was avoidant, that we were destined to continue to repeat these behaviors. Now, thankfully for me, I work in the mental health field and I work with people every day. And I know that change is possible, and I know that self-reflection is possible, and I know improvement is possible. But even myself, I fell victim to this idea that we were only going to behave in the framework of these attachment styles. And so what ends up happening is I stop seeing my partner for who they are, and I start seeing them as a set of symptoms or personality traits. Oh, you're always going to avoid me when there's big emotions. You're always going to shut down. You're always not going to want to argue or discuss something. When things become too hot, you're going to walk away. And then for myself, oh, of course I'm going to feel anxious if you don't return my phone call or I don't receive a text in a timely manner. Or of course I'm going to obsess over the relationship not working out because, other relationships haven't worked out. Well, this was going to drive me crazy. And frankly, it was going to destroy my relationship. So thankfully, I ended up pulling myself back and recognizing that the person I am in love with, the person that I'm working with, has a whole host of issues just like I do. And sure, maybe we both lean towards those styles in a way, but they're actually the same. It may seem that an anxious, nervous, clingy type person is very opposite of somebody who's standoffish, pushes away, but they're actually quite the same. Almost everybody wants a secure relationship. Almost everybody. We're designed to have safety in our relationships. We're designed to want and crave safety from a partnership. But our actions sometimes thwart that. Our actions are the obstacles of that. So if we just keep looking at the laundry list of these attachment style characteristics, then we'll never break free of them. So what I ended up doing was becoming more curious about my partner's behavior and leaving room for the conversation to happen of what happens when, or what happens in your mind, or what do you feel when these things happen, right? Because in the beginning of a relationship, it's great. Everybody is happy, you're on your best behavior, you're enjoying each other, maybe there's lots of chemistry, but then you end up settling into your own natural behavior. So if I'm prone to thinking disaster all the time, that the relationship isn't going to work out or that I'm going to be abandoned, then I might start behaving in a way that promotes that. I might be too clingy, I might be too anxious, I might ask too many questions about, are we okay, is this good, are you happy? The avoidant might feel, I'm fearful that I'm going to get hurt if I'm very emotional or I let them see who I am, so maybe I will push them away. This emotion's becoming too big. I don't want to talk about the status of our relationship. I don't want to talk about the seriousness of our relationship. It's too much for me to handle, so I'm going to push away. These might be things that people do, but it doesn't mean that it's going to always be that way. So how about instead we talk about what happens when we have those experiences? And I think it would be better for the partnership for one person to state, hey, I notice when you say you're going to call me at 7 and you don't, I start to panic. Can we talk about what that means and how I feel? And then that person say, whoa, my gosh, I know I said I'd call you at 7, but I got really tied up and held back and I couldn't. But the fact that you question me or that you are getting anxious causes me to feel like you're boxing me in, causes me to feel claustrophobic, then I act out or I push you away more. Ultimately, now this isn't to say that all relationships are healthy, because they're not. It's not to say that all relationships work out, because they don't. But what it is to say is if you really feel there's value in the person you're in a relationship with, and that you can get that person and yourself to communicate in a way of curiosity, in a way of extending the olive branch to one another, like, I just want to understand you and understand your behavior so that I can make us both, or not I make us both, that we both make each other feel safe. That's going to go a lot further in a conversation and a relationship than just view of attachment styles. Like, of course, an avoidant is always going to avoid you and not come back. It's not true. It simply isn't. And if somebody has more characteristics that align with those avoidant styles or the anxious style or the disorganized style, that's okay. That's a history of behavior. But it doesn't mean that they have to stay there. Anytime we do any kind of self-improvement, it requires us to reflect back on ourselves. And here's what I'd say about self-improvement. Some people roll their eyes and they think, just accept me for who I am. I'm not going to change. I am who I am. Why do I need to self-improve? You either take it or you leave it. Okay, that's true. And people can take it or leave it. But, have you ever taken a shower and it was a really great shower? And you felt relaxed and maybe had eucalyptus in the aroma in the shower and it was a really good scrub and the smells are great and you feel really relaxed. Does anyone ever really get out of that shower and say, that was the best shower of my life, I never need to shower again? Probably not, because if they did, not going to be good for their neighbors and people around them, right? No, we shower, we enjoy, we refresh, we clean, we cleanse. So self-help or self-improvement is kind of like that. You don't just do it once and go, I'm good, don't need to do it again. So this is my encouragement to you, that if you want to improve your relationship, put down the scrolling of the attachment styles. Use them as maybe a little bit of a guide, but really reflect on what is the value of the relationship, where do my partner and I both want to go, what do we both want to achieve, and when we dialogue that, then we can know whether or not we're on the same page. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little talk on attachment styles, and I hope that I hear from you. If you have any questions, you want to learn more about how I work with personalities and help you improve your own life and remove obstacles, hit the message below, subscribe to the channel, or send me a DM. Thanks so much.